Right, what is happening, folks? So today we are going to be building our very own AI assistant, and hopefully in post-production I will have put a picture of him like right here or something like that. But today we're building an AI check-in assistant. Its goal is essentially to be the middleman in between you and your client check-ins to help you process what the check-in is, know what to say next, and we're essentially trying to build a version of you that remembers all past check-ins and where it automatically kind of updates and does the thinking for you, and then just places what you need where you need it. And yeah, should make your life a lot easier when it comes to client check-ins and speed up the process massively. So I have this mapped out and we are going to kind of build it start to finish today with an actual client project. So it's yeah, this is exactly how I would set it up, because this is us actually setting one up. So let's make sure that we're all set. I'm just going to move all my controls to the right place, and then from there we will get started. Okay, and we are good to go. So I have this mapped out here on a tablet, but you will have the full guide by the time you're watching this video with everything mapped out a little bit more detail and a lot finer. So step one for setting this up is going to be to set up the knowledge bases for this, to set up the prompts and set up the actual directives for this chatbot. Step two then is going to be to build all those apps and automations that will kind of link everything together. And then step three is going to be to train this chatbot. Now, the reason that we are going to be using Zapier chatbots instead of just using OpenAI is for the automation part and the conversational memory part. So with the chatbots inside Zapier, we can actually build ones that have conversational memory and knowledge bases attached to them, compared to if we just use the actual step creating the action for OpenAI's ChatGPT to do the check-in. It's not actually going to have conversational memory compared to if you're using it as your own custom GPT manually. So it's just what we need to do to get the automated elements to it. And yes, we could probably do it in more in-depth ways and everything, but a lot of these tutorials and things are going to be designed for the client and or you, the person watching, to be able to customize it and edit it as you go. So what we're going to do is we are literally going to jump right in now. We're going to start creating our chatbot and then go create all of our knowledge bases and get everything linked up. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go into Zapier and then we need to go set up a chatbot. So into Zapier, we're going to click on chatbots, and then if you don't already have it, it's going to say, hey, you don't currently have one, let's go set you up on the trial. And okay, free trial of chatbot has ended, that's fine. We're going to upgrade the chatbot now, and then I will extend the trial for 3 more days and we'll upgrade. Okay, we're going to create a new chatbot. This chatbot, we're just going to call it, one that I use for my clients is Clara, but we will just say, we'll just call it check-in assistance. That's very clear about which chatbot this is. Okay, so we have that chatbot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start building out the different kind of directives for it and the knowledge base. So the first thing that we're going to do is the actual directive. What is the objective of this chatbot? What is it used for? And what exactly do we want it to do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this some direction. Okay, so I've gotten some stuff from the client about what way he wants this done. So we are just going to populate that inside there. And perfect. So essentially, we just want to give it a bit of direction about who it is and like what it does and like what way it should be kind of speaking, and then give it like basically, right, your job is to go do X, Y, and Z. So we're saying that it is to go craft a check and reply and go acknowledge wins and basically structure it in this format. So we are going to, okay, that is perfect. So we're just going to save that for now. And now we are going to move on to the knowledge bases part of that. We will go back into into more of like the directive and stuff like that to make sure that it really knows who it is and what it should be kind of saying, and then some more information. So let's go to knowledge base here, and we're going to go connect tables. So tables is going to be the first one that we are going to do. Yeah, so we're going to connect the table first. That's going to be the first step. All right, let's go create our first knowledge base. So we are going to do a table, and this first knowledge base is going to be for, I'm going to say, the past check-in responses is probably going to be the one. Okay, so yeah, we'll do past check-in responses first, and then after that, we will do some check-in feedback and FAQs and stuff like that. So, right, let's edit this. And again, you can just copy along. I might do is I might zoom in a little bit as well, just to make this a little bit more clear when you're watching this back on the video. Just conscious that you won't be able to see too well. Okay, so then we'll add another field. This is just going to be a long text field. Okay. And then we're just going to put in check-in date. Okay, so that's what we're going to put in now, and then I'm going to basically import the client data to go match this, and then you go do the same. So what we'll do is, I have to zoom out, it's giving me a headache. What we're going to do now is we are going to go into our check-ins. If you're using Typeform, Jotform, whatever it is that you currently use, I want you to go download all your responses into a CSV file. Then what I want you to do is I want you to set up that CSV file so that it has the client's name in one column, it has the client's email in another column, it has their actual check-in in another column, and then it has the check-in date in another one. And then from there, we're basically going to get that, and then we're going to import it here into tables, and then that's going to give us some information about that client so that it can look back and go, right, these are the past check-ins, this is the general replies and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to go do now. So it's a little bit easier for me now. I have them already formatted like that because we already built some automations to kind of do that. But for you, just basically follow that, just name, email, actual check-in responses. And then from that, if you want to do like any check-in replies that you did or anything, that would be a good idea too. Right, let's get this downloaded and formatted. Okay, and one more field that you might want to put in if you have this currently in your check-ins, or if that is the way that you're going to be doing the logic-based check-ins, is you might put in a field for just the traffic light. So if you use like reds, ambers, greens for your check-in, so go red, amber, and then we'll put green as the third option. All right, and then we'll just color code them to match red. I really wish these were like more vibrant colors of it, but that will do. We have red, we have amber, yellow, and green. Okay, we're gonna create that. Perfect. And then I'm just gonna drag this over here before their check-in response so I know who's there. Right, what we're going to do now is we're just going to import them. So you're going to go get your CSV file that is formatted the way that you want it, where it only has the information that you need. You're going to download that CSV file, and then you are going to go in and you're going to click to import the records. If you need to see where that happens, if you click up here, 3 dots, you're going to say import records. And from there, you're going to drop down a file. So we're just going to add our newly formatted CSV file here. Okay, after that, then it's just going to ask you to match it up with the information just to make sure that this is correct. and you give a quick scroll through just to make sure it says their full name, their email address, the traffic light, the details. I can't show you now because it's showing actual client details, but you would just make sure that they are all there, and then we'll import it. So I have that imported now. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide that field, and I'm just going to hide that field out of view. Okay, so I have them imported. I just have the client details hidden, but we can see that I just imported 363 records. So there's 363 check-ins that were imported. We can see the greens, the ambers, the reds are all there, and we can see the dates in which they checked in. So that is knowledge base number one complete. So we are just going to call this past check-ins, so that we past check-ins, so we know what that is. Cool. So we have that one done. Now I think we should go add another knowledge base to this. So if you wanted, we could put in like a base of like check-in feedback of like the way that you like to provide feedback, so then it knows how to do that. So I'm just going to tick that off my list just so that I have it done. And I won't forget. All right. Now let's go create another knowledge base about the check-in feedback. So what we're going to do is any feedback that you have given on the clients, we need to go get that, and we need to get it downloaded onto a CSV file again, and then import it into a table. So from here, we're going to go create, and we're going to go create a new table. And we're going to start with a blank table name. So this is going to be past check in. We'll call it feedback, just so it's clear. Past check and feedback. Why can't I type today? What's going on? Maybe it's time for a new keyboard. Okay, so past check and feedback, this is the next knowledge base that we want. And then for the past check and feedback, all we really need is just to be able to see what the coach said and how we said it. It's not as such feedback to what to say during the given situation. It will pick that up, but it's more how the coach is going to say it and like the language that is kind of used in there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go set up this table here. We're just going to delete that field. We don't need that. Okay, and then we're going to speed back. All right, and then from here, I'm going to delete that. And then if you wanted, like you could go really far and put in like feedback context and stuff like that if you had a load of information available. But if you didn't, that's fine, because we'll go into a part about what would you say during certain situations and like FAQs, so we'll learn that knowledge. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to get a CSV file now of just check-in responses and go get those and import them as well. So let me just go to that coach's check-ins. I'm just going to download them now and import them as a new CSV file and get it formatted. So again, you go do the same thing as well. So if you use Looms, if you use voice notes, if you use written, whatever way you can, try to get that into text format, convert it. If you use Looms, get transcript and take that. We just need to basically be able to see like what you say back to the clients in check-ins, how it's kind of structured, how it's formatted, and then as you say it, like what would you generally be saying in those check-in feedbacks. If you can get that onto like a text document, get that uploaded in there. That's going to be super useful for the AI to be using as a reference tool. And then we just repeat the same process that we did with the other one, where we're just going to click the three dots up the top right. And then from there, we're going to say import records. We're going to click the file that we want to import. And that file is obviously the one that has all of our check-in feedback inside there. And then we're going to click continue, make sure that that is pulling in correctly. It is. Continue, and then I can now see there that I have 217 records pulled in. So I have 217 points of check-in feedback for the AI to use as a reference. So that is probably enough. Okay, so that is our check-in feedback. Now we're going to go create another knowledge base after this, which is like FAQs from clients and like what you would say to them in different situations. So let's go create a new table. So we're going to go create a new table again. And actually, what we're going to do is instead of a table, we might do this as an actual file. So we'll just go back here to the chatbots. We'll go back into our check-in assistant, and then I'm going to download these questions and answers that I have from the client as a PDF, and we will go import this into the chatbot's knowledge base as the PDF. Okay, so we'll go to knowledge base once we're back into that chatbot again, and now we're going to go upload a file. So we have all different ways that we can do it. You can do a Google Doc too, but I'm just going to select it as a PDF, and I'm just going to upload it here. Okay, so we have coaching questions PDF, and then I'm just going to click add source. Hopefully the file is okay. Click save. Okay, so now we have coaching questions. We're getting there with the knowledge base for this AI. Okay, coaching questions has been ticked off the list. And then what we might do is just one more little file about the way that it should coach. So we have the previous check-ins, that's perfect. And yeah, I think if we create another one here about how the coach would like it to be answered. Okay, so we're going to add another file. I'm just going to create the file right now. Okay, so let's get this other file uploaded. And with these chatbots, depending on the plan that you have, you can have different amounts of knowledge bases. So right now with this plan, it's like the base plan of it. It has 10 knowledge bases, which is probably going to be plenty for what we're going to be using it for. So let's get those connected now. So we have the tables created. So we are going to say the past check-in responses. I'm going to add that source. Cool. And then we're going to go add another source from the tables again, which is going to be the check-in assistant past check-ins. Add. So we have one to show us all the past check-ins that came in from clients. We have one to show us all the coaching questions and like how the coach would generally reply to it. We have one that shows us how to actually coach. So like more directive stuff about like what they say during situations. If certain things are good, they would say this. If certain things are bad, they would say this. And then we have another one then which shows the actual feedback of like how the coach actually speaks to the client for every single check and reply. So let me see where we are at now in terms of the building it out. So the knowledge bases that we have added, we have all of those. Perfect. The next is that we have the prompt, so the actual specific prompt that's given to the AI when it's supposed to go do its thing. And then we also have the directive, and the directive is pretty much complete where we have given it instructions on what exactly it needs to do and who it is and all that kind of stuff. Then if you want, you could go build in more logic to do it. Like, well, if they say certain things, we're going to go start more automations based off it. We don't really need to for this. You could change the team nobody's ever going to see this, so it doesn't matter. This is going to be used in an actual automation. And then if you wanted, you can integrate these chatbots into different places. You can change the AI model that it's currently using, and you can change how creative it is. And then you have more settings here if you want to like put in any extra little bits. If there's any error messages that it displays something, but it's not going to happen for us, that's fine. And then conversations. So this will be a log of all the conversations going back. So what we're going to do is we are going to park this part now for a minute, and we're actually going to move on to the automation side of things, where we are going to be getting the check-in over into this chatbot, giving it the kind of instructions, and then getting it over to where we want then inside this person's Airtable and their CRM. So that is going to be the next part. Okay, so now that we have got all of the knowledge base set up for this chatbot, we now need to go integrate it with an automation. So this is a current check-in automation that we have running for one of the clients, where basically their Typeform check-in comes in, it then goes and doing a little bit of JavaScript to kind of categorize the check-in based off some values inside there to give it a red, an amber, or a green. From there, it sends a webhook to let his other kind of systems know what's going on. Then from there, it creates the check-in in his client management dashboard, so you can see all the check-ins, and then from there it goes and it attaches to the person's profile and stuff in the background. But what we need to do is we need to put a step in between here now where it's going to update the past check-ins, and then it's also going to create the AI response and populate it onto that check-in before it gets onto the check-in card and the coach sees it. So that's what we're going to go do now. So the first thing is, let's make sure that after this check-in comes in, that it goes and it populates inside the past check-ins, so we know that, right, it's continuously updated. Actually, no, we'll do that after. Let's get straight to the main point, the actual chatbot. Let's do it. So we're going to add a step here, and we are going to say chatbots, and I'll zoom in here again, even though I hate working like this. Like I feel like I can't even concentrate. It's so close, but on the video, it will be a little bit easier for you to see. So from here, create a reply to a message, continue, and it's going to ask you which chatbot. So we're using the check-in assistant. If you want, you can put in a conversation key. So this is going to be, when we look at our conversations, we'll be able to see like, all right, whose check-in was it? So what we'll do is we're just going to add in a value from a test. Let me just make sure that I have one in there. Yeah, so we'll add in name, and then we'll also give the date then as well. Just so that if we wanted to go back to someone's specific check-in, if there was an issue with the actual response, that conversation key will bring it back to us. Now, this is the key part now, the user message. So what we're actually saying to the chatbot. So we want to give it a prompt, but we also need to give it the actual check-in response from the previous part. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy in a prompt here, and we're going to customize this a little bit. So draft concise and to the point check-in reply to this check-in, use the previous knowledge and rules I have uploaded. Do not use any, okay, perfect. That's a big one. Don't use that with AI, or don't use that. AI did that. It's ridiculous. And talking about breathwork references, breathwork / meditation as it falls under the same category. Okay. Okay, so you could say something like, here's the client's current check-in, / and then we will go get the full form responses. Then we'll say use Okay, so we'll use something like that where we have basically a prompt. I'll refine this later after a bunch of testing, but I'll just show you what to do. So from here, get the responses going in there and then make sure that you reference to, hey, use what I have given you and stick to the structure and all that kind of stuff. We have the little prompt here. Then from there, we're going to click continue and we're just going to say test step. So when I click test, it's going to be getting all this information now. I probably could have picked a better check-in where I didn't really I didn't really give it much to go off in this check-in with those results, but we can do another one now in a minute if needed. We just need to make sure that this step is working. Okay, there we go. So that is working. And then after that, we need to get that response onto the person's actual check-in. So it's creating a check-in. It's mapping in the details. So we're getting the color, we're getting the check-ins, and then from here, we're just going to populate it into one of the fields I have here, which is just going to be AI recommendation. So we're going to do the forward slash, and then we're going to say generate here, text, and there we go. Right, and then we're going to click continue. Right. From that, then we will test that in a second. Right. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to go back to the actual check-in chatbot itself and go make sure that we say in the directive to go use the formatting from the specific knowledge base for how to actually reply to the actual check-in. So let's go back here and we'll refresh this page. Right. Instructions. E. Yes. Right, well, that was clearly incorrect. Let's fix that. See, that makes more sense. All right, so we're just going to save these changes here. Perfect. And I'm just going to go back to this message here. Okay. And then I'm just going to make sure I reference it clearly inside here as well about making sure to use. Okay, perfect. Now let's go input some actual data inside there and try it. But first, we just need to close that loop of the feedback where all the check-ins are actually going into the past check-ins again. So let's go here where we're going to tables, and then we are going to create a record, table ID. So we're going to the past check-ins, and then we're basically just going to populate it. Okay. And then traffic light color, change that to a dynamic field. And we're getting that from the JavaScript. Cool. And then we're just going to test that step to make sure that that is working. Right, perfect. So that is working now. Cool, ideal. So what we're going to do is we're going to publish this step where we have actually completed the loop now. And then the last part for this is just to keep refining it and keep changing it, keep giving it more direction, keep giving it more resources, and that will just make it more and more like you. So I'm going to close off the loop here, and then we will go train this a little bit. Okay, so I have redone the check-in there where I basically just actually gave it some answers about me saying I did do stuff, and yeah, it's after creating replies. So let's go check that out. So I have the check-in, I completed it. I said some stuff about like, oh, I hit some PBs on a threshold run, a Zercher squat PB, and the food has been on point. I hit my calories and macros each day. Then just some of the other questions I answered, saying that I need to be planning my day a little bit better and blocking my time. Finding it a little bit hard with the meditation. I just keep thinking about the stuff while I'm supposed to be relaxing, and that I didn't take time to actually do my journaling. And one thing that I need to do to stop procrastination is get my phone and put it into a lockbox while I'm supposed to be doing some deep work stuff. So then it went and it crafted the reply. So short enough reply. So I said, Aaron, fair play. Also, if you're Irish, that's very much the language that will be used. And fair play on hitting your personal best in the threshold run and Zercher squat. And smashing your food goals this week every day is no small feat. Keep the momentum going. If you're feeling good about your progress, or sorry, I see you're feeling good about your progress and rate it as a solid 10. That's brilliant. Now, about that focus, planning your day with a detailed battle plan and time blocking sounds like a solid strategy. Just remember it's about consistency because that was one of the parts that we put in there about the battle plan. And then the struggling with motivation is normal. Maybe try focusing on your breath and acknowledging the thoughts without judgment. It's not about emptying your mind, it's just learning to be present. Don't forget, journaling can help you sort through that procrastination. Perfect. Got a great action plan with the lockbox idea. What's one specific task that we can do for ourselves this week to sharpen that focus even more? Okay, so we are in line with it. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you now how we can actually train this chatbot even further and get it to adjust the responses. Now, I'm not actually going to adjust it much because I'll let the coach actually do this stuff himself so that he gets it exactly the way he wants it. But I'm going to show you how to roughly adjust it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our check-in assistant here. If I click conversations, we can see the two check-ins. So the first one, we could see like, right, this was the big check-in that went in there. And, said, all right, let's go to Chase wins, and it gave that kind of formatting. I was like, I don't really want that. I told it to go back to the way that I was structuring them. And then that's when we went back to this format here, which is really good. So what we can do is if we want to train this even more, we can actually do it live by talking to it because this has conversational memory. And so does like ChatGPT, but not the ChatGPT that you would be using in a Zap, which is why this is different because we can use Zaps with this and it's going to have conversational memory. So let's go train this a little bit. Now, what we do is settings. Sorry, we will go back to instructions just to make sure everything is set the way we want. We have all that. Knowledge bases are set. Team, everything, integrations, perfect. Right, let's share this. So then we are going to go get the public link for this, and then we're going to start using the check-in and basically, yeah, see exactly what it says. So, right, so we have the link here, and what we're going to do now is we're basically going to tell it, hey, we are going to do some training to make sure that you're up to date on your language. So, so say, excuse me. So say, hey, this is JL, the coach's name. All right, so we'll give it a prompt like that where it's like, right, here's what I want you to do, and basically we're going to train you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give it the check-in. I'm going to ask it to explain why it said what it did, and then we can tell it, I would do this differently, and then you can basically train it like that. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the check-ins and we'll go through here. So we're going to copy this. We'll go in here and say, this was a check-in. And I'm just going to paste in the reply that we got from that check-in then as well. And all I'm asking it is saying, hey, this is a check-in you gave me. And then I want you to basically tell me why you said what you did in the reply and what you used from your knowledge base. We'll just send that off. Okay. All right. And then basically what we do is we talk with it. And then from there it's going to train itself. Like that's how good these are, that like you're just going to have check-ins come in, that you have a chat with it and you say, yeah, this was good, this was bad, and then from now on with all the check-ins coming in going forward, they're going to get better and better replies because of you training this check-in on how to sound more like you. And then what you've done now is you have just massively cut the time of your check-ins that it takes every week. So now instead of you needing to go sit through every bit of their check-in, you are given the response to their check-in. It's going to use their past check-in replies to notice patterns and stuff like that then as well. So all set and ready to go. So hope this helped.